Chosen one, I know the exact weight you are carrying in your chest right now. It is a very specific, quiet, and haunting panic. It is the feeling that you are running out of time. You look around at the landscape of your life, you look at your peers, you look at the calendar, and a suffocating thought grips you. You should be so much further along by now. You know you carry a profound spiritual assignment. You have felt it since you were young. You have known that you were marked for something larger than the ordinary script of survival and retirement, something that requires you to step into a divine calling that will shift the atmosphere around you. But as the years have passed, the gap between what you know you carry and what you have actually seen manifest has grown agonizingly wide. You feel like your life's work is taking far longer than it ever should have. You feel as though you are constantly in the waiting room of your own destiny, watching other people walk through doors that seem permanently locked to you. You have done the work, you have prayed the prayers, you have endured the purifications, and yet the breakthrough, the launch, the vindication, the fulfillment of the promise seems perpetually delayed. You are exhausted from holding the vision when the reality refuses to catch up. I'm here to tell you that what you are experiencing is not a malfunction in your spiritual life. It is not proof that you have missed your window. It is a historical, verifiable pattern. What you are feeling is the exact psychological and spiritual burden of the chosen. You have been measuring your progress by a human clock, comparing your profound, foundational calling to the fast-tracked, surface-level successes of the world around you. But you are not building what they are building. You have been pulled into a divine timeline that operates on an entirely different scale. The frustration you feel is the friction between your earthly impatience and heaven's architectural precision. When God is building a temporary structure, he builds it quickly. When God is establishing a generational stronghold, he digs deep, and the excavation process feels exactly like being buried. You are not behind schedule. You are in the trench, and the trench is exactly where the architects of the restoration spent the majority of their lives. Right now, the enemy is exploiting your exhaustion. He is whispering a very specific, calculated lie into your spirit. He is telling you that the delay is your fault. He tells you that your past mistakes disqualified you from the accelerated path, that you missed the crucial turning point 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, and now you are just living out the remainder of a diminished life. The enemy wants you to believe that the silence of God over your circumstances is the abandonment of God. He wants you to look at your slow progress and conclude that heaven has withdrawn its endorsement of your calling. He is trying to get you to surrender your assignment not through a spectacular moral failure, but through the slow, grinding erosion of your hope. If he can convince you that it is simply too late, that you are too old, too tired, too overlooked, or too far behind, he can abort the mission before the foundation is ever fully poured. He is using the illusion of time to crush the reality of your identity. But I need you to look at the blueprint of the restoration. I need you to look at Joseph Smith. We have a tendency to view the restoration of the gospel as a sudden, blinding flash of light, a lightning strike of continuous, rapid-fire miracles that changed the world overnight. We compress the timeline in our minds, but the restoration was agonizingly slower than anyone expected, including Joseph. The heavens opened in the sacred grove in 1820. Joseph Smith received the first vision. He stood in the presence of God the Father and Jesus Christ, the absolute pinnacle of spiritual experience. And then he was told to join none of the churches. He was given a massive, universe-shifting truth. And then, the church was not organized until 1830. 10 entire years between the opening vision and the institutional beginning. Think about what that decade felt like to a young man who knew what he had seen. 10 years of carrying a calling without a platform. 10 years of carrying a truth without a community. Think of the timeline of the Book of Mormon. Moroni first appeared to Joseph in 1823, showing him where the plates were buried. Joseph went to the hill, expecting to take them, expecting the work to begin immediately. He was told no. He was told he was not ready. He had to wait a full year, and then another year, and then another. 4 years of annual visits, of being tested, of failing tests, of being refined, of waiting, before he was finally entrusted with the record in 1827. And even then, the circumstances were chaotic. It wasn't until 1829 that the bulk of the translation actually happened. The Book of Mormon was translated in roughly 60 days of actual, intensely focused work. 60 days of explosive revelation. But the preparation for those 60 days took years of excruciating delay, silence, persecution, and character formation. God took nearly a decade to prepare the man for 2 months of actual work. Look at Nauvoo. Joseph spent years planning the Nauvoo Temple. It was the crowning ordinance center of his prophetic ministry, the place where the ultimate endowments of power were to be poured out upon the saints. He laid the foundation. He drove the work forward, but it took years to build, and Joseph was murdered in Carthage jail before it was completed. He never saw the finished structure in mortality. The restoration did not happen fast. It happened right. Joseph had to learn through brutal experience that God's pace is not man's pace. Joseph was constantly pressing, constantly pushing to establish Zion, and God was constantly slowing him down, forcing him to build the foundation deeper, wider, and stronger than Joseph initially understood was necessary. There is a specific moment in the Revelations that speaks directly to this friction between our timeline and God's architecture. In September of 1831, the church was barely a year old. The saints had been commanded to move to Ohio, and they were already being commanded to lay the foundation of Zion in Missouri. The work was massive, the resources were non-existent, and the people were exhausted. They wanted the New Jerusalem to descend immediately. They wanted the glory without the grind. And the Lord spoke through Joseph Smith in Doctrine and Covenants, section 64, verse 33, and delivered the exact spiritual principle that is governing your life right now. The Lord said, "Wherefore be not weary in well-doing, for ye are laying the foundation of a great work, and out of small things proceedeth that which is great." God was telling Joseph, and he is telling you that you have fundamentally misunderstood the phase of construction you are in. You are looking at the empty lot of your life and wondering why the roof isn't on yet. God is looking at the same lot and telling you that you are still laying the foundation. And foundations take time. They are underground. They are dirty. They are entirely unglamorous. Nobody drives by a construction site and praises the foundation. They only praise the building once it goes up. But if the foundation is rushed, if the concrete is not allowed to cure, if the rebar is not set properly, the moment the building faces a storm, the moment it is asked to hold the weight it was designed for, it will collapse. God said to Joseph, "Ye are laying the foundation of a great work." He did not say, "You are finishing a great work." The weariness comes when we demand completion in the season of foundation laying. God reminded Joseph that greatness does not burst into existence fully formed. It proceeds out of small, seemingly insignificant, painstakingly slow things. This is exactly what is happening in your life right now. You are not delayed. You are being dug deep. The reason your calling is taking so long to manifest, the reason you have been held back while others have moved forward, is because of the sheer size and weight of what God intends to build on top of you. You are laying the foundation of a great work. If your calling was small, you would have achieved it by now. If your assignment was common, heaven would have let you launch years ago. But because you are called to something that will shift bloodlines, because you are called to break generational curses, because you are called to establish a standard of truth in an age of deception, you cannot be rushed. Your character must be forged to match the weight of your calling. The years of silence, the seasons of feeling overlooked, the agonizing waiting, this was the curing of the concrete. This was God ensuring that when the 60 days of explosive acceleration come, and they will come just as they did for Joseph, you will not crack under the pressure. You are not behind God's timeline. You have just been measuring by the wrong clock. You must step into the truth of your identity. You are a chosen one. You are a generational architect. You are a foundation layer. You are not a victim of circumstance, and you have not missed your moment. The enemy's lie ends here. You possess the spiritual grit to endure the excavation. You have been given the fortitude to stand in the gap of time and not lose your faith. Think of Joseph waiting those 10 years from the sacred grove to the organization of the church. He did not waste that time. He was being tutored. He was maturing. He was learning how to recognize the voice of the Spirit, how to discern deception, how to endure the mockery of the world. Your waiting has not been wasting. Every tear, every frustration, every moment you felt invisible was being entirely utilized by heaven to build a structural integrity into your soul that no devil in hell will be able to tear down. It is time to release the panic. It is time to exhale. Stop looking left and right at what others are building. Let them build their temporary structures. Let them have their quick, fleeting moments of recognition. You are building a temple. You are building something that will outlast you. You are building something that future generations will inhabit and find safety within. The acceleration is imminent, but it will only come because the foundation has been proven secure. Do not be weary in well-doing. Do not let the length of the process cause you to doubt the reality of the promise. Joseph Smith died knowing the Nauvoo Temple was not finished, but he died in absolute peace knowing the foundation he laid was unshakable. You must come to that same peace. You are right where you are supposed to be. The foundation is set. The preparation is complete. The heavens are aligning for the next phase of the architecture. Speak this with me right now. Let your voice break the atmosphere of delay. Let your spirit agree with the divine timeline. I release the panic of the ticking clock. I stop measuring my progress by human timelines. I recognize the lie that I am behind schedule and I cast it out of my mind. I am not delayed. I am being established. I am laying a foundation of a great work. Foundations take time and I am willing to endure the excavation. What I am building will outlast the impatience I have been feeling. I embrace the preparation that guarantees my calling will not collapse under pressure. I trust the timing of the God of the restoration. My character is catching up to my calling. The foundation is secure, and I am ready for the acceleration.